Superintendent Howitt has provided some reports. I'll let her speak on K1 and K2 before we move forward.
The first report is the Science of Reading report. You'll find it starting on page 6 of your package. I did leave for trustees an amended page 15 on your desk. There is a slight change to the grade 2 results for your information. This report is submitted on behalf of myself and Superintendent Mike Wilcox, as we've worked in close partnership in support of the Science of Reading rollout in the system. The report essentially includes information about the Right to Read report, what the ministry has promised, and also what we have promised as a system and the work that we've done. In addition to the initial marking of Acadience scores for students that is demonstrating a need for our students to have support in reading. Most of those students were either in JK or not in school during the pandemic, and even when they were in school, masks were on faces, so they're not seeing the articulation of words. So it's demonstrating, as you have also acknowledged as a Board of Trustees, a need for support in this area, as well as information from our teachers about the learning that has occurred this past year. We are getting mid-report data in March, and we'll provide to the Board of Trustees in the fall, based on our support for student performance, the progress that we've made. But Superintendent Wilcox and I have a very short video. It's about 5 minutes, so you can see what's actually happening, boots on the ground in schools with teachers and kids.
We were lucky enough to experience the Science of Reading while we were at PES last week, so you'll find this hopefully as interesting as I did when we experienced it in the meeting.
One of the most fundamental responsibilities of educators is to teach students to read. According to the Ontario Human Rights Commission's Right to Read Inquiry Report, word reading and spelling are foundational for being able to read and write and successfully interact with different forms of communication.
Pour créer des nouveaux mots. Comme, je vais vous donner un exemple. Imagine, ça représente le mot dans.
When students are not able to read, they are put at an incredible disadvantage that impacts their future life opportunities. The Greater Essex County District School Board is committed to providing an equitable, responsive, and comprehensive literacy program based on the science of reading that utilizes assessments and instructional practices to effectively support students to become competent and capable readers.
Dis le mot casse. Casse. Change k à t. Casse. Ah, bravo.
Along with science-based core instruction delivered by prepared educators, universal early screening is a critical part of reading instruction. This screening identifies students who are at risk for reading difficulties or are not responding to instruction as expected.
Pictures taken the next day.
Early screening ensures students are identified and receive the programming they need before they start to experience significant difficulties. This year, the Greater Essex County District School Board piloted the Acadience and IDAPEL screeners in 10 schools and trained all K through 3 English as a second language and special education teachers on the use of evidence-based diagnostic assessments.
Okay. So you just try, we're going to read all 10 of them, right? So try right here.
Food.
Decades of multidisciplinary research have shown that the best way to teach all students to read words is through direct, explicit, systematic instruction in foundational word reading skills. Beginning in kindergarten, this includes explicit instruction in phonemic awareness, the ability to identify and manipulate individual sounds in spoken words, phonics, which teaches letter-sound associations, and using these to sound out and spell words. In kindergarten classrooms across the district, we are implementing Haggerty and B for Reading in English classrooms and Sonograph in French immersion classrooms.
O-I.
O-I. Slide.
Great.
Early, evidence-based classroom instruction and interventions that are fully implemented and closely monitored are highly effective in reducing the number of students who fail to learn to read. With effective classroom instruction, fewer students will need interventions in the later grades.
The benefit of using UFly and Haggerty and other systematic and explicit approaches is that students are not going to fall through the cracks. There is such a beautiful ability, we have such a beautiful ability now as educators to catch those students who are missing specific foundational skills and providing them with that instruction to help them continue to move forward. That is the number one benefit of the UFly and Haggerty programs. We now have the tools we need to keep those kids moving forward in their learning and becoming successful.
Maintenant, on va faire 400.
Oh no! That's so tricky.
Oh oui.
Tier 2 includes more intensive, systematic instruction delivered to a small group of students, demonstrating a need for additional support. At Tier 2, evidence-based interventions must explicitly target the foundational skills of sound letter knowledge, phonemic awareness, decoding skills, and word reading accuracy and fluency. All K through 3 homeroom teachers, learning support, RISE, and ESL teachers have received classroom literacy kits with hands-on materials to support targeted small group instruction.
I'm very proud of the efforts from our board and the staff here at Jack Miner School around the implementation and development regarding the science of reading. The teachers and I have felt supported with professional development, resources, and personnel in helping build our capacity in providing a rich structured Tier 1 and Tier 2 reading program for our students. As a result, I've witnessed a high level of implementation from our staff. We've also observed the benefits for our early years students and our primary students in becoming skilled readers.
Shift. Okay, remember we can use our digraph here.
As stated by Dr. Louisa Motes, children can be taught to read and deserve no less from their teachers. Teachers, in turn, deserve no less than the knowledge, skills, and supported practices that will enable their teaching to succeed. There is no more important challenge for education to undertake. The Greater Essex County District School Board is committed to educator training as we continue to implement the recommendations of the Ontario Human Rights Commission and transition to a revised language curriculum in September of 2023.
Well, I know when we were at PES, Trustee Burgess asked the question and got assurance from, I forget who we were speaking with, that French and native languages are also included in the science of reading and preparing our students for that, and we were very excited to hear that. So I look forward to that. Does any of my colleagues have questions? Any questions for trustees? Trustee Burgess.
Thanks, Madam Chair. This is exciting, of course. I didn't realize that Dibbles had changed to Acadiens. And is that just a name change? Everything remains the same, or is there a shift there? But I did have a question about the 9 participating schools. How did we determine the 9 participating schools? Because I should imagine there were a lot of hands that go up that say, please pick me. So was that based on EQAO data or what? So if you could answer that, Dibbles, Acadians, and how do we pick them?
The tool is very reminiscent of the original tool. In terms of the determination of schools, we divide the schools. Like we can't monitor math and reading and writing all at the same time. We don't have that capacity because it's a mammoth job because of certain limitations that are involved in the system. So we divide the system into schools that we measure for math, schools that we measure for writing, schools that we measure for reading. We look at EQAO data and we try to get a cross-section of the board in each of those areas that we're measuring across the system. So, and in this case, you'll see that there were 9 schools and one of them was a French school. And just to your comment about the value of the French learning in the science of reading, I refer to specifically page 13 and page 14. that talk about that our board received significant funding to engage in the work, and we worked with ACP to prepare the learning of what that would look like with our French language learners. French as a second language in our immersion schools. And you'll see on page 14 that we are going to be the lead in developing the research of a diagnostic assessment for French immersion. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I really do need to acknowledge the partnership again between the special education department, Dr. Mark Crunwell, our speech and language individual, Melinda Hinch, Tammy Wilcox, Yvette Lehman, and our French consultant, Angeline Humber, who are extremely dedicated to this work.
Makes us proud of. Now, are we looking forward to this being a huge asset in our recovery program? It looks like it should be.
It is part of our recovery program, but it's also part of our equity work. This is about every student having the fundamental right to learn to read. So it's absolutely part of both.
Oh, Julia?
Just want to ask, because we've had several presentations over the years on science of reading, and of course we were kind of ahead of the curve on the right to read, I would say. So how many years has it been?
The right to read, it's listed in there, came out in 2021. And so here's the thing to note. We are ahead of the game. It came out February 2022, the right to read report, but we were planning for it in advance. And Superintendent Wilcox and myself sat down and said, we need to develop a system committee. We know this is coming. That right to read report was developed on a legal case that occurred in British Columbia 10 years earlier, which was a case of a student that didn't learn to read based on dyslexia. And so that has traveled now to the province of Ontario and has made it part of the Ontario Human Rights Commission. And so we knew it was coming. We prepared, and actually I was sharing with the director that we got a shout out at the provincial meeting for all administrators across the province as being one of the boards to follow in terms of our work. A lot of boards are doing good work, but it's nice to know that we're helping to lead in this area.
As we always do. Now, K2, Student Wellness Mindfulness Project. Anybody have any questions on that for Dr. Howitt? Oh, we have a presentation.
So I'm pleased to welcome Jody Nolan, and I'm sharing this on behalf of my colleague, Superintendent Sash Korbach. Excited to welcome Jody to share about the great work that she's helping to lead in our schools in this very specific project, which really aligns to the theme of the work of Education Committee this year around wellness. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So I'm here to speak on our mid-project report, my Mindful Classroom pilot project, empowering students and educators with science-backed strategies to support and bolster mental health and well-being. So this project will be delivered, our 8-week project will be delivered to many schools across the county and city, from kindergarten all the way up to grade 12. Kingsville, Queen Victoria, Anderton, Gosfield North, Herman Elementary and Secondary, James L. Dunn, North Star, Essex District Secondary School, Leamington District Secondary School. Oh, is there? That would be easier. Oh, thank you very much. Great. Okay. So the 8-week Mindful Classroom pilot project consists of one period weekly to visit the same classroom, kindergarten to grade 12 for 8 weeks. A science-based lesson from the Mindful Schools curriculum is taught, sharing a new mindfulness social-emotional learning strategy, the neuroscience, and a 2-minute practice challenge each week. Teachers are building toolbox or anchors bulletin boards to visually highlight the new strategies and practicing daily with the students. Pre and post data collection is being conducted for teachers and students from grades 6 to 12. Pre and post quantitative and qualitative data are being collected from the students and teachers for all 4 pilots in the elementary and secondary schools this year. Complete data will be analyzed and reported at the end of the 4 pilots in June. To date, a majority of the teachers involved in the pilot project report many benefits. 100% of our teachers reported that the lessons, tools, practices helped to decrease their students' levels of stress, anxiety in the classroom. So the blue is teachers that said yes, they noticed that it decreased student stress and anxiety very much. And orange is yes, I think it has helped. "96% of teachers report lessons have helped students' ability to self-regulate attention and focus better at school." And again, it's a yes very much or yes, it has helped somewhat graph there. 83% of our teachers report the lessons have helped students' ability to self-regulate emotions at school. Teachers learn and practice the strategies daily with their students each week between my lessons. 99% of the teachers report it decreased their own personal daily stress level at school. 100% of our teachers report, 22 strongly agreed, and 1 agrees somewhat, that the Mindful Classroom project lessons in this curriculum are beneficial and worthwhile for teachers and students. The majority of students using the tools and doing the practices report feeling benefits such as falling asleep faster, sleeping better, increased ability to focus, better ability to regulate emotions, and decreased stress and anxiety. 74% of our students practicing the strategies report improved ability to cope with emotions. 80% of our students practicing the strategies report improved focus. Most students in the pilot project feel the lessons are good for students and teachers to learn. I think it was around 92% there. So what are students saying about these lessons? Students are reporting that they wake up. One student said, "I used to wake up in a bad mood a lot, and now I wake up feeling happier. I am focusing better at school. I am falling asleep a lot faster at night. I am no longer nervous to raise my hand and talk in class. Practicing mindfulness has helped me to feel calmer and make the butterflies go away. I can focus on my schoolwork for the first time, and I'm not yelling at my mom anymore." So, yeah, the feedback has been really, really positive. I know in the report, I think that you'll see some more of the student and parents comments included. And I just received this email last week from a teacher, grade 3 teacher at Anderton. "Good morning, Jody. I am writing to let you know how wonderful the Mindful Classroom lessons have been. I've been teaching for 23 years, and I've seen mental health issues over the years in my students. I think incorporating these lessons into the classroom and teaching students these strategies from a young age is the piece we were missing. I believe the tools you are teaching our students and myself will have a significant impact on our mental well-being, and it already has. This work is so important. Every time you come into my classroom and do a lesson, I have an aha moment and see so much value in what you're doing. I sincerely hope that this continues and that our board will train more teachers to do what you're doing. I think there is an overwhelming need for this in the school system. I wish I would have learned these things at a young age. One of the important things that these lessons do is teach people that it is all very normal and everyone goes through similar thinking patterns. I think a lot of people think they're alone in how they feel. Teaching the normality of these feelings and emotions, that it's part of life for everyone, makes you feel more at ease and open. Thank you for the time you have spent with my class. They have learned so much, and I'm so thankful that the board has created this important role and allowed you to get into the classrooms. You're a wonderful, mindful teacher, and we all appreciate you so much." So outside of the pilot project, I visit different schools, generally about 1 day a week, doing the introductory lessons, social emotional learning, and resources from School Mental Health Ontario. One thing I really love about this curriculum is that it's accessible kindergarten to 12, and I visited PASS, and I'm working with the IB students in the high schools as well. It doesn't matter what your academic level is or your background, everyone can benefit from these lessons. Our whole year is booked, and there are currently 30 schools on a wait list for next year. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for Jody? I thank you so much for the work you're doing, and I know this is going a huge way in our refocusing our kids and getting our kids better equipped. Thank you so much, Jody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trustee Kim?
Excuse me. Yeah. Thank you for your presentation. I do think 1 year, only 30 schools. Could you cover all the schools next year? Because I think it's very good.
It's actually a 4-year position. So we will reach more than half the schools with the pilot projects. That's our hopes. But I would love to have a team of people in this role. I don't know if that's possible or how we go about having that happen, but then we could definitely reach many more schools.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have, this is trustee question period time. Do we have any trustee questions?